when she passed, the festival went with her, and that showed that it was largely a one-woman operation. It was a grassroots festival. And I was always impressed by the kind of party atmosphere that they had here, going here at the hotel. You had people traveling from different places and whatnot. And they had an older demographic. It was always based primarily in ballads and blues and whatnot.
My name is Nick Houston. I was familiar with the festival through my aunt, who was one of the vendors from the inception. She worked with Ronnie and her husband. She encouraged her family members to come participate in the middle of February Jazz Fest. And last year, there was no Jazz Fest. And it was a sinking feeling. I just didn't know why I felt that way, or what came over me. But then I realized it was just the simple fact that there was no jazz festival.
I began to question, well, gee whiz, these people who were part of Ronnie's organization, looks like they're not going to bring that thing back. We knew that in order to do this the way it had to be done, this wasn't going to be a commercial venture. It needed to be on the not-for-profit side. And Paul Carr was part of these discussions, and his education program, the Jazz Academy, had a 501c3. So it became obvious that perhaps we could do this through his 501c3 as the producer.
I was the founder's saxophone player, so I was very closely, intimately involved with the festival because I also picked the finalists for the scholarship program. So I knew about the festival, and I knew the festival, and I knew how important the festival was to the jazz community, and most importantly, jazz education.
I'm Mike Gurrier, Mr. Jazz from WRIR in Richmond, Virginia, formerly of WWOZ in New Orleans. And it's a great pleasure to be here at the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival with their reincarnation event. We're looking for a lot of fine things to come in the future. We all know that the arts in general are succumbing to a lack of support from local, state, and federal government entities. And it's the people out here in the trenches and in the front lines that are the ones that are planting the seeds. They're germinating them, invigorating them, nurturing them, and keeping forth the jazz essence that is such a fabric of the American culture.
I am now volunteering and looking forward to the future with the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival.
I think the greatest surprise was seeing how happy people were, the people coming back to the festival, and how happy they were to have the festival come back.
There's the novice, and then there's those that can tell you the history from the beginning to the end. And when they all come together and meet, they like to share that information. So I think it's wonderful. They get to talk about it, and who they've seen, and then talk to other people, and just to see things grow within the jazz community. So I love it.
So the problem that you're having is probably that your reed is too soft for the tip opening, and you're not doing overtones off a low B flat.
For singers.
Can you do that?
I mean, my thing with singers is that I don't want to get into it, but I think all singers need to use more air.
Sound like
if you watch...
sound like Buddy Rich or whoever it is that you're trying to emulate. You can't do it. So it behooves you to check out what they're doing, try to execute some of the things you hear them doing that are, part of the drumming tradition, and it's going to come out sounding like you anyway.
Dear God, Please look down and see my people through.
In a plane, flying too high with some gal in the sky. It's not my idea of something I just would love to do.
Above me, they say there's moonbeams I should view.
One, two, three, four.
Why do you like jazz?
Because it's just the most difficult music.
I started with classical for 11 years and I just switched to jazz last year. There's so many ways you can interpret it yourself instead of just having to listen to what other people tell you to do.
I started jazz at the end of last year. I got recruited into the jazz band because a bunch of other trumpets left, so they put me in it.
And what are your feelings about the music?
I like it a lot. It's really different from classical, which I used to play, but it's fun.
Actually, Jazz Academy is it's modeled after something that I attended when I was in Houston, the Summer Jazz Workshop. So as a student there, I got so much out of it when I was a kid in Houston. So and it was nothing in this area like that. So it's actually modeled after that, with some ramifications for today's kid. I think I'm growing an audience. Because some of these kids are going to be, great, supporters of jazz, and some of them are players. So, and I tell you, it's a really good feeling to hear something that a girl that you've taught, and they go on to play jazz.
I'm 10 years old. Inspiring, I'm happy.
One of the things that inspires me is I continue to meet and hear young musicians. And you'll say to yourself, well, gee whiz, like if you go to some of these schools or whatever, and you see the energy with which these kids put into this music, and you say to yourself, well, gee whiz, if this thing is dead, how is it these young people are still interested in playing this music?
Jazz is never dead, and jazz is never dying. It's always it's always around. Jazz is, in my opinion, is always been kind of a struggle. So and that doesn't mean that doesn't. And I think that's what makes that helps to make the music so unique into what it is.
You left me here behind, so don't touch me till your heart made up your mind. Don't touch me, don't touch me till your heart made up your mind. Don't you dare put your hands anywhere near me. Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Thank you very much. We love you, Ronnie.